All right, we are recording.
She's gonna cry the entire time. All right.
That's all
So
right.
the checklist for SLD, that's what we should go over, right?
Sure.
Meaningful and discuss course content, eligibility cases. All right. So I have the SLD. Okay, I might have to get her a bottle.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I'll
Okay,
pause
1
recording.
second.
I have nothing else to do today.
Okay.
All right.
So the SLD criteria, well, Gabby's 7 years old, and she kind of went under the radar, it sounds like,
Yep.
because she was just well liked. But so for SLD, they have to meet the criteria in A, B, and C, or A, B, and D.
Mm-hmm.
What the child does not achieve adequately in one or more of the following areas. So in the reading, it said that she fully understands the appropriate classroom instruction. She has trouble with fine motor skills, oral directions, gross motor skills. And she only worked when the teacher sat right next to her. So
Yeah.
it didn't really talk much about her academics, just that she was behind, right?
Well, I know, like, when she would just not do her work, she'd be pretending to do or doing other things, like resting her head on the table.
Yeah.
And just like daydreaming and not really participating in the class.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
go ahead.
do you think she would, so like, I'm just looking at the checklist here, like oral expression. It seems like she does okay
Yeah.
as far as like with her friends and her social skills in that matter, but I think it did mention something about her communication skills, if I can remember right.
Okay, I'll just quick go through it.
Listening comprehension, she for sure is lacking.
It says that although minor at times, her inattention and hyperactive behaviors became prominent.
Okay. So, I mean, for sure we could check off listening comprehension. Do you have it pulled up? What does it say about like her actual academics? Like does it say anything about her comprehension and like writing expression and stuff? Or just that she didn't do it?
She went into second grade. Like her second grade teacher thought that had suspected Gabby had some learning problems, but assumed that teachers would pick them up and remediate them.
Yeah. I mean, I think she would meet, it says one or more of the following areas in response to appropriate classroom instruction. So that's part A, and she definitely is lacking in, I would say, one or more of the areas on the sheet: listening comprehension, and then probably any of the academics. If she's not doing the work, she's probably behind in that.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really say anything about like her academics as a whole.
Specifically, that's what I thought.
At the end, when the teacher went into the desk and saw that she left her homework at school.
Right, instead of bringing it home.
Yeah.
And then it says, and the child does not make adequate progress to meet age or state approved standards. We don't exactly know that information. Or the child exhibits a pattern of strength and weaknesses in performance, achievement, or both relative to age. I think we would be able to check off one of those just given the information that we have. Probably the exhibits a pattern of strengths and weaknesses in performance. What do you think?
Hang on, I had for some reason I had the EBD one pulled up.
Oh,
I was looking at it. I'm like, what?
you're like, what are you reading?
Yeah, where are you getting this from? Whoops. I had it up earlier. Okay, so what were we saying now? That the check one.
Yeah, after where it has like oral comprehension, listening comprehension, all that stuff. Because I mean, I'm thinking we could check off for sure one, given the information, but most likely more because she's probably behind in some of those academic areas. But then it says, and the child does not make adequate progress to meet age or state approved grade level standards, or the child exhibits a pattern of strengths and weaknesses in performance, achievement, or both relative to age. I would say the bottom one is probably more.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Just because, I mean, I think she could probably do really well in some academic areas if she was interested in, given her help.
If you're interested in it, you'll want to know stuff about it.
Right.
You'll get interested in it if you have interest in it.
Yeah, and if you have the proper help. Then what's the next portion in this? And documentation to support this finding must be representative. So we weren't really given any sort of documentation that they've done.
Right.
But I mean, we can just assume that the classwork samples, teacher records, hopefully once they noticed, right?
Yeah.
And it said that her teacher talked to the principal, was it? Or was that for the EBD one? That was for the EBD one.
I think that was for Albert.
Albert, yeah. Do you have any like experience as a para doing documentation?
No, but I've seen it a lot because my wife is a special ed teacher.
Oh, nice. That's really nice.
Yeah, and so she, at her previous job, she just did all the evaluations.
Oh,
for the kids, and because it was a big district.
Yeah.
So I think they had 3 elementaries, one middle, and 1 high school. But she would do for one school. She would be in charge of all the evaluations and just seeing all the paperwork. And she's helping me a lot with the schooling and stuff like that.
That's really nice to have her in your back pocket.
Yeah, it is.
Both my parents are special ed teachers, so
okay.
Kind of I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a licensed K-6 teacher.
Okay.
But I didn't get any jobs, and then so I just been subbing.
Yeah.
And then with the subbing, I was in mostly special ed classrooms.
That's nice. I know I did some subbing at the beginning of this year too, before the baby, and it's nice when you can get into a special ed classroom.
Yeah.
I'd rather do that than the general ed classrooms.
Yeah. Yeah, and I had I student taught in kindergarten too, so.
Oh, nice. That's perfect.
I was my daughter's that age. I'm able to handle her.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't do it with 18 little kids.
No. Nope. So the next part in the SLD checklist is information processing. The child has a disorder in one or more of the basic psychological processes. which includes an information processing condition. So, in a variety of settings by behaviors such as inadequate. Let's see, I'm just trying to think of which ones she would check off. So she has some gross motor skills and
Yep.
fine motor skill issues. So like the motor control for written tasks would for sure,
Mm-hmm.
we could check off. Probably the organization, like since she didn't take her homework. I don't know if that would go under organization or something else, but. And then, let's see, one or more. Yeah, so I would say those for sure. That maybe the planning and sequencing, since she can't really do that on her own, it seems like she needs somebody right next to her in order for her to get anything done.
Yeah.
Do you think any other ones under there she would qualify? Okay.
The planning and sequencing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't.
It's hard because we don't have that much information to like really dig deep into it, but the information we do have, I think she for sure meets at least one or more of those, which is all you need. C, severe discrepancy. We don't exactly know that.
Right. Doesn't go through her academics very much.
Right. So in order for her to qualify, she has to meet A, B, and C or A, B, and D. So let's see. D, inadequate rate of progress in response to scientific research-based intervention. We also don't know what interventions they tried after they.
Well, wasn't this the one that was?
Right, it doesn't have any interventions in the reading. So, I mean, but it does say she, in the reading, it does say she did qualify, but she wasn't referred until grade 2.
Uh-huh.
And it's just so standard, I think, that her inattention and hyperactivity went up with like the it was more prominent with the harder academics. I feel like that's just like a classic SLD alarm bell. Yeah, I don't know. I taught just for 1 year, 3 years ago, and had grades 6 through 12, and I was the only special ed teacher, so I had all disability categories in one classroom at the same time. And that was really hard, but I had a lot of kids that just had SLD, and I mean, it was mostly like total behaviors relating to the harder the academics are, or if they weren't interested.
Yeah. And that's what, that's what I want to do. So like, I want to, so I'm getting my EVD license.
Okay.
Through, and then I think if everything would go according to plan, it'd either be next fall or next spring. I'd have to do my 10-week student teaching thing.
Yeah.
And like then I'd have my EBD license. Then I just have like 9 more credits left to get my master's. So
that'd be perfect.
That's what I think is the idea.
Yeah.
That my wife detailed out.
She set you up for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have my ABS licensure right now, so I I can teach any disability category, but it's kind of like you get thrown into a school and they can put you anywhere they want, really,
Yeah.
anywhere they need you. But I would prefer to do SLD or DCD. So I'm getting my master's in both those areas, I guess. But we'll see.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, so any more on Gabby? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Sounds like she just needs a para and extra supports and probably like a reward program for
Yeah.
her to get her work done, something to
Yeah.
motivate her.
Yeah. Staying on task thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Something like that.
And I think those are pretty simple too. Or I thought they are simple to kind of put into the classroom.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're easy, they're simple, but you can move it around and have so many different rewards for the kids.
And I think it would be good to since it sounds like she does have so many, like she has a good reputation with her peers, and I think that would be like something that would be important to focus on and keep. Like you don't want,
Yeah.
don't want to ruin that where she's confident. Okay, let's talk about Albert. He sounds like quite the character.
Yeah. It sounds like a kid I had when I was student teaching.
Oh,
Like,
really?
yeah, identical. It was kind of scary, but
Yeah. Did you see any improvements over time or no?
oh yeah. I was lucky enough where I student taught in the fall, so I didn't have to come in and like have the whole spiel about going over the expectations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, I could, they knew what to expect because
Right.
the teacher took charge right away, and then we got them in a routine,
Yeah.
and then I took.
Routine helps a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah. It is big.
Okay, so first of all, he is one-on-one, non-compliant, verbal and physical aggression, frequent tantrums, does this puking thing.
Yeah,
Pretty gross.
yeah. When I read that, I was like, oh, and then I read it to my wife, and she's like, started gagging.
Yeah, yeah, no
Like,
thanks.
why would you want
Um,
to eat your own throw up? Ugh.
I know, it doesn't make sense. So it sounds like he moved to a new school.
Yeah, that was the first thing that kind of caught my attention was, um,
They were given his history too, and
yeah,
but parents wanted him in that gen ed class.
right, yeah, after being in hospitalization, I think that's what they call it now,
But yeah, but in the
and
reading it
and,
said
and then be,
institutionalized.
and then being on medication.
So they tried that. The
I just don't
behavior
know why you wouldn't.
continued.
The gen ed classroom for him wouldn't be the best idea, I don't think,
No, and just like starting in a new environment anyways, I think would be hard without having any,
yeah, I mean, it's
you know?
at the school I work with, this girl um, just moved from Oklahoma up here, which
Yeah.
rip that. But the first couple weeks, I mean, she was in my wife's class. My wife's her case manager,
Yeah.
and so got to know her. And they're in hybrid, so Wednesdays we're not in school at all.
Okay.
And the first week they do cohorts, cohort A,
Yeah.
cohort B. A is Monday, Tuesday, B Thursday, Friday. So the first week that she was there, my wife's really recommended that she be there the whole week so she can see all the kids.
Yeah.
or most of the kids that are in her class. There are a few that are strictly online.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like the first day, she really didn't leave my wife's room. My wife
Mm-hmm.
had to like walk her, and granted, her classrooms are pretty close. My wife's classroom's like in the middle of the school, so
Yeah.
it's not that bad. She, if she wanted to, she go, she, okay, you want to walk? You want me to walk with you? And she's like, yeah, please. And they just walk down to class, and that I think that interaction right there is, warming the kid up. So
Yeah, just building a relationship.
yep,
Yeah, that goes a long way. But I don't think Albert was really set up for any sort of success being thrown into
no,
the gen
no,
ed
I don't think so
classroom.
either.
It says gradually spent more and more time with resource room with aid. Eventually made improvements, but never like 100%, which I don't think you can
Yeah, and then it said
expect
that
that.
the person that was doing it, that he was, let's see, just when I feel like I have a handle on this little boy, he proves me wrong. So like, you know, and that's one thing with EBD kids every day. You, especially at that age, you don't know what sets them off or what could
Yeah,
set them off.
yeah, and it's never consistent.
Yeah,
So when we look at the checklist, K through 12 students must meet criteria in A through D. Um, so significant different behaviors. Let's see. Displaying intense fears, no. Failing to express emotion, I would say
yeah,
yes. He expresses some emotion, but not
not properly.
appropriately.
Yeah,
Um, isolating self from peers. I know it talked about like the kids in the gen ed class would like try to help him and stuff,
yeah,
or the student must exhibit disordered thought process manifested by unusual behavior patterns. I would say that's more, sounds maybe more him. Self-mutilation, I don't know.
no, I wouldn't.
No,
Nothing said. There was nothing said about that.
nothing, no. I don't, I mean, he meets significantly different behaviors. Displaying pervasive sad disposition, maybe in his tantrums.
Hmm.
He's got a lot of behaviors. Just have to pick them out. Um, and then it goes down, or physically or verbally abusive behaviors, yes. Impulsive or violent, destructive, yes.
Uh,
Behaviors that are threatening to others or excessively antagonistic or other, which would be, I would say, like the vomiting and eating it kind of thing. So he for sure meets criteria for A.
yep.
B, adverse effects on educational performance. I mean, he's one-on-one, he's non-compliant. There's a slim chance he's doing any academics unless he's super interested in it, right?
Right.
In the reading, do you remember it talking about, or do you have it pulled up? I have the checklist pulled up, but does it talk about the academic portion? I didn't make any notes of that.
No, it doesn't say like
It
talk
didn't
about.
really talk about academics too much, I don't think, or at all. But his behaviors for sure get in the way of any learning.
Yeah.
And then area C says areas of impact K through 12, at least one of the following areas. Intrapersonal, yes. Academic, yes.
Hmm.
Vocational, I mean, it will affect vocational when he gets older, right?
Yeah.
Social skills, yes. Must meet all severely interferes. I would say C, he meets all of those, everything you can check, basically.
Yep.
D, evaluation requirements. We don't know much about any evaluations that they've done, but we do know that he has a history of being institutionalized, it said. Um, it's just, it kind of makes me sad that this is true, or if they were to just put him in the general ed classroom.
Right.
It's just silly. So he for sure meets criteria for K through 12 because they have to meet A through D, which he does. And we knew that. But EBD's EBD's hard, but it's so rewarding, I would say.
Uh-huh.
What do you think? So one of the questions at the bottom of Albert's reading was, how would you describe the least restrictive environment for Albert?
Uh-huh.
I think I was thinking about it because he would have to be pulled for a majority of the day.
Uh-huh.
But for areas like gym, I wonder if that would heighten his behaviors or
Yeah, I
decrease
mean,
his behaviors. I mean, we
I
don't
would
know
think,
him, but
like, especially in the elementary, like, as long as there's like a para with him,
mm-hmm,
and if he is at, that's just one thing that I would try to get him integrated in that first and foremost so that he can be running around, burn
right,
some of that energy.
right. Before
Uh,
trying like academics in the gen ed classroom.
right. Yeah, for sure. And then,
Mm-hmm.
I know my daughter's school, they have an hour for gym and then they have other specials.
Yep.
So they split them into half hours. And so if
Okay.
you can go that whole hour,
Yeah.
her school is K through 4.
Okay.
And I mean, I've subbed in it. I subbed in it a little bit last year,
Yep.
and as it, I didn't work. I didn't get to work in the EBD room there, but
Yep.
there's definitely times when pushing the kid into a classroom would work, and then there's definitely times where pushing a kid not.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
such a
and it's kind of like given, once the para or teacher knows the student, you can kind of feel out like, okay, it's going to be a good day. Okay, it's going to be a bad day.
yep,
This is how far we can take
yep,
him. But yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting because his behaviors, I feel like, are so intense. So it'd create quite the interesting day.
yeah,
But
yeah. That's true. It would be very
but
interesting.
yeah. I don't know what else we have. We're just supposed to discuss those two, I think, right?
Yeah, that's all. How I read it too.
Yeah. Okay then.
All right, so I'll stop the recording.